Well, a very good evening to each and every one of you. Welcome to this week's episode of Your Manchester with me, Ms. Belinda Scandal,
me, Mr. Michael Adams,
and me, Izzy Bushell.
We have got a marvellous show today, but Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah, Happy New Year to both of you. I'm back, I haven't gone missing, yes. I brought you a little present.
Oh, you're exciting.
Yeah, so you may have seen a couple of weeks ago that Mark and Belinda went down to Old Granada Studios, went for a little rummage around the old corridors, and Mark brought some choreo artefacts, back into the studio, and he brought in one of Hilda's original ducks.
Yes.
And you were very jealous, you wanted it, didn't you?
I did want it.
Well, I've gone one step further, because Mrs. Ogden herself has been in touch. She's living a high life as a housekeeper with Dr. Lowry, and she said, you know what, Belinda? They always dropped off me wall that much that I've kept a set two of them, so you can have the other one. So they're up there.
Ta-da!
I must add, courtesy of my mother. She sent them with kind regards.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We have got a marvellous show today. You two can ride this, haven't you?
We have indeed. It's wacky, it's fun, it's, somebody can say, outrageous.
Very outrageous.
Yeah. In fact, we were one dodgy mullet away from reviving Funhouse today. We went down also to Old Granada Studios to the new Chaos Karts. Great fun, wasn't it?
Very much fun. And one of us may have crashed, but they'll have to wait to find out.
Oh, giving so much away.
Yeah.
Well, one lady whose career is definitely not crashing is our fabulous Denise Welch. She's about to appear in a brand new play. Yes, she's treading the boards once more, and we'll have more from her in just a few minutes' time. What have you been up to, Izzy?
I've been speaking to Barbara Diesel, and she's an actress in an upcoming one-woman show, which is all about mental health and how it affects friendships and the sort of society view around it as well. Covers all those sorts of issues.
And I've been chatting with Michael Dillon. I've been doing the Time Warp. It's not the Rocky Horror Show, no. I have been talking to him about a loosely based adaptation of The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. That's coming to the Lowry next week.
So, with such a full show, let's begin. This is how your show's looking. Well, joining us now ahead of a fantastic show called The Gap from the 9th of February to the 9th of March is the one and the only Miss Denise Welch. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Hello, darling. I'm in my lovely phase at the theatre.
You're rehearsing as we speak, aren't you?
Oh, we're rehearsing in London. Me and Matthew Kelly. It's a two-hander, and it's written by the brilliant Jim Cartwright, who writes brilliant stuff, difficult to learn. Because it's so poetic. He's just running out the room there because he knows I'm going to slag him off. No, we're having a great time, Belinda. It's a lot of work, but you know, I felt it was time for me to go back to my roots and do what I was trained to do.
Why is now the time for you to get back on the stage then, Denise?
I think because I'm utterly ridiculous, and you know, I just I've been incredibly fortunate because, as you know, this industry can be very unkind to the older woman.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to try harder than a lot of people to remain relevant. And I've been very fortunate that my career is diversified into presenting and being a panelist and, you know, being a bit of a sort of, personality. You know, I've done lots of different things, and that's fantastic. And I love all of those things. But at my heart, I'm a theatre actress. And I did do Diana the Musical. It was a one-night concert earlier this year, but it's several years. It's 2018 since I did a play, but it's many, many years since I've done a play like this one, which is a two-hander at a theatre, my favourite theatre, Hope Mill Theatre in Manchester, which is incredibly intimate. The audience is nearly on top of you. And but it's the kind of theatre I grew up with in Newcastle at Live Theatre Company, and then I did Jim's Rise and Fall of Little Voice in 2004 at the Royal Exchange. And I just felt it was time. And Jim had asked me about doing a new play of his. And then Matthew and I spoke about it, and here we are.
But I mean, it's two-hander. I mean, in the previous thing, you were in, the last thing I think I saw you on stage in was Calendar Girls.
Yeah, there was
and
a lot
you were
of
on and off. I mean, this is full out you and Matthew Kelly, non-stop.
Once you're on, and there ain't nobody coming on to help you. And anybody who knows Jim's work knows how poetic it is. It's very, very naturalistic, but it's also stylized. That sounds like a little bit of a paradox, but there's a rhythm to Jim's work. And you've got to find that rhythm. And it's, as I say, any social life is out the window until March. Yeah.
All right then. So what's the story then? What's it all about?
Right. Okay. So you've got Coral and Walter, and it's kind of trying to tell the story without giving too much away. It starts when they haven't seen each other for 50 years. They're both in their respective abodes. She's in an old age people's home, and he is in sheltered housing. And they start to tell their story. Something happens at the end of the play, which means that they're being interviewed by a reporter for probably something like The Sun or The Mirror. And so they're both telling their independent stories. So it weaves in between dialogue between the two of them and them talking to a reporter or the audience, something out there. And they've been incredibly close over the years. And basically, he was her maid because she was on the game in a very, very select fashion, but looked after by the very trustworthy Walter. And then she left for love. Their lives they went to Soho together. They had this amazing time in Soho. That's how she made both their livings. She then goes off with a rich man. That doesn't work out. And eventually, through a Chad's phone call, they find each other again. And it's about love, and it's about loss, and it's about survival. And it's moving, and it's funny, and it's just a lovely piece.
And you can hear the passion within your voice just describing this. Obviously something, well, certainly that you're looking forward to.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. I mean, I'm nervous. You'd be mad not to be nervous, but I feel in very safe hands. We've got a wonderful director in Anthony Banks, two wonderful producers, Joe and Will at Hope Mill, who I know who run a fantastic theatre there. And so we're gonna Two Old Codgers giving it a go. I mean, Matthew Kelly, he literally came off stage in Noises Off on Saturday matinee and came straight here on the Monday. He never stops. And he's mid-70s now, he is.
And how's he to work with then?
Oh, he's great, Matthew. I mean, we don't know each other massively well, but I've known him for years. I mean, everybody knows Matthew Kelly. And of course, when he, I think a lot of people though, again, because Matthew went into presenting and became super famous for Stars in Their Eyes, a lot of people don't know that Matthew is a classically trained, superb actor. And that's what he does really. But, he got the chance to be a TV presenter and he did that for a while. Thank you, Peter. But he's a fabulous actor. And we're both having a laugh with it. We're keeping each other right because we're both going to be scared.
Sounds amazing, doesn't it? 9th of February to the 9th of March. It's running for a month at the Hope Mill, which is, like I say, one of these small theatres, but wonderful theatres. They don't do things by halves just because it's a small theatre, do they? You're an ambassador for there, aren't you?
I am an ambassador, yeah. And I mean, I've seen some incredible shows, as I know you have at Hope Mill. I mean, what I love about those theatres is that every time you walk in to see a different play, you think, is this where I was to see the last play? It can be in the round, it's in 3 parts, it's in, the audience all at one end. They've done that, I remember seeing a full-scale musical, Mame, there, and there were 16 people. And, Harriet Thorpe told me that they would go, da, 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 like a dame, and they'd swoop off. And they were literally on top of each other trying to change. And then they'd come on as if they'd had all the luxury of space. So they do amazing things. And I love people supporting a theatre like Hope Mill, because they never get the money, they never get the funding of the big theatres, but they do many times the better work. And also it looks after the community as well. So it's really, and it's, we all know how much it costs to go to the theatre, certainly in the West End at the moment. Unbelievable, crippling prices. Whereas, it's it's an affordable show for everybody to see.
We will definitely. For now, though, Denise Welch, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Hello, Izzy.
Hello, Michael. You right?
I'm all fantastic. Even better for seeing you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I have got a little surprise for you coming up.
Ooh, I'm
Did you have a nice Christmas?
Really good Christmas. How did yours go?
It was lovely, but I've been dying to get down to here to show you something that
Ooh.
I found.
What is it?
And it all relates back to Coronation Street.
Okay.
So we're actually in a sort of hub of Corrie history here. So we're about to turn this corner onto Lower Byram Street, which originally this land was owned by the Byram family, hence the name Lower Byram Street. And Edward Byram, he built St John's Church that was over there in the present day site of St John's Gardens, used for many years in Coronation Street as the Red Wreck, which I'm sure a lot of your Manchester viewers will remember.
Yeah.
Just beyond that, we've got some houses, Culvercliff Walk. They were also used in Coronation Street, one of the flats. Bit of a strange story to this. In the show, it was Mike Baldwin's. In real life, it was actor Johnny Briggs's flat. They wouldn't get away with that these days,
No,
would
they
they?
wouldn't, would they? That's
Bit
crazy.
of a security issue, I know.
Yeah.
But we're going to head up this way a little bit further,
Yeah.
and we're going to head towards Granada's Stage 1.
Okay.
Follow me.
I'm excited.
Right, so follow me through this way. So, bit more history for you now.
Okay.
So, Edward Byram, who I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
he ended up also building a quay into the River Irwell just round the corner, hence the name Quay Street.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Which many of our viewers, once again, will remember was the home of Coronation Street for so long. And well, Corrie, in the late 80s, they were expanding and they decided to then use this building here as their main production hub. So this became Stage 1. This was the main complex for Coronation Street. A far cry, of course, from what we're used to down at Media City these days. It was developed from an old bowling rink that used to be owned by Granada, and it's just sort of dead space, but of course found new home as the home of the Rovers Return, and of course where all of those dressing rooms that you may have seen Mark and Belinda walking around a couple of weeks ago. Now, of course, as we know, Corrie's been at Media City, what, 10
just over 10
now?
years, yeah.
And as a result, these buildings, they sat derelict for quite a long time. However, new life has been breathed into them.
Oh, and what is it?
We've got a go-karting place, Chaos Karts.
Oh my God.
And that's my surprise for you today. We're going to go go-karting.
We're going go-karting.
How do you feel?
Scared but excited.
Scared but excited.
I'm not-
You head that way,
Oh.
I'm going this way. Follow us. I'm quite excited for this.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
How have you been go-karting before?
Only on the Wii.
On the Wii.
Yeah. So I don't know
Right.
if that's going to help with this, but it might do. I can use my mental skills for
And
it.
it's quite an impressive space, this.
It is. It's like
It's mad to think they used to film Coronation Street here.
It is,
But what is
yeah.
it today? It's a desert.
We're in a desert.
Let's
Oh,
get
brilliant.
going. You go that way, I'm going this way. So, as we make our way around the track, these diamonds, these big pink diamonds, we've got to collect these. So effectively, Chaos Karts works in a way, it's not who's the quickest, is it?
It's not. It's who can get the question marks and the points and then hit up the other people.
Should we get to a question mark? Should
Should we do that
Let's
and
run
then show
this
them
way.
that?
The question mark, this is a power-up. So in the same way that, you know, popular racing car games that you may or may not play on Nintendo devices work, you grab one of these and you can get sort of, they're all very, very similar as well. So instead of a slippy banana, it's an egg.
It's an egg.
You've got
You got the punch.
a few of them look a bit confusing.
They do, yeah.
But
yeah.
who knows, maybe I'll slow you down as we're going round.
Maybe I'll slow you down.
Maybe.
We'll have to
Maybe.
wait and see.
So yeah, we've got to make our way around this really impressive space, collecting the diamonds, and then that will depend who wins.
Crashed.
And we're off.
I've been hit again.
Right, and what? I'm coming for you. Well, how did you find that, Izzy?
It was good. It was hard.
We've got our
harder than
medals
I
now,
thought.
but I won't lie. They're both gold. I think we're both winners, but come over this way. Look at this. They've got some of these, like, these cards.
What have we got here?
We've got to decide who's winner, who's loser.
Oh. I mean, I did crash, but then I carried on afterwards and I was very
think
fast.
we both get up here. I think we're both winners.
Both winners.
Jump up here, love.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. However, I've got a card for Belinda Scandal. She wasn't here, but she still brought the chaos. Back to the studio. So joining me now to talk all about the
new version, a new imagining, I guess, of a classic book by H.G. Wells is Michael Dillon to talk all about the Time Machine. Hello to you, Michael.
Hey, how are you? How are you doing?
You know what? I'm chuffed a bit to be talking to you because Michael is a very good name, isn't it?
Great name. The best.
You're in
I
good
would say the
company.
best. Wow.
So,
I'm looking forward to the chat. So thanks for having me on. It's great.
yeah, pleasure to have you here. Pleasure to have you here. And of course, visiting our very own city very soon in the Time Machine at the Lowry. Now, this is a complete reimagining of the story. 1895, the Time Machine was originally released. So I imagine, in a way, you're going to have to change things, aren't you?
Let's just say it's a very loose story of the Time Machine. The Time Machine gets lost very, very quickly. So yeah, it's a loose retelling. It's essentially three actors telling their version of the Time Machine. Something goes terribly wrong, and then chaos ensues for 2 hours. It's madness, but yeah. So you'll get a little smidge for Time Machine fans. You'll get your Time Machine. You'll get enough facts, but it's mainly just 2 hours of chaos, 2 hours of craziness. So yeah.
But effectively, that means if you're an actor portraying an actor, you're basically portraying a fictionalized version of yourself. Yeah.
So without getting too confused, I am Michael Dillon, the actor, but I play Michael, the actor, in the show. So yeah, it's a bit of a head wreck, but in the best way. Yeah. It's good.
Now, I have to admit, even though this is such a well-known story, I genuinely never heard of it. Of course, H.G. Wells to me means War of the Worlds, and that's been such a huge, big sort of, well, started, of course, you had those radio adaptations. Since then, there's been movies of it, TV shows. It's so huge. Who knows, Michael Dillon, following the back of this, you might end up on the telly doing your version of some actors doing the Time Machine.
Yeah. I mean, there's been so many Time Machine movies already, so maybe I'll be in the next film of the Time Machine, you know? But we're having so much fun on the stage version that I'll stick with this for now. It seems easier, you know? But it is total madness. It's great. It's great crack.
So, of course, things undoubtedly are going to go wrong along the way in the story, and I've been pre-warned that there's going to be some music from Cher.
There's Cher, there's time travel, there's monsters from the future. There's audience participation. It's absolute chaos. Yeah. There's two other actors in the show. George Kemp, who plays George, and there's Amy Revell, who plays Amy.
She play Amy?
Yeah, she plays Amy. Well done. See, you're catching on. You're going to love it. You're going to love this show. But Amy sings Cher at some point, and it's incredible. She is so brilliant. So yeah, we're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this show, and it's been going down a storm. We've had a great time. So yeah.
So it's been going on for a little while now, hasn't it? Where else have you been performing?
So we toured it early last year. We did a little tour. We were all over the place, really. It's our first time coming to the Lowry, which is great. It had a London run just before Christmas, and it went really well. And people just wanted more of it. So we were like, okay, let's just keep doing it. You know, some people have come to see it 2 or 3 times, which I'm all a bit like, really?
Well, that's a good sign.
It is a very good sign, yeah. It's good. Last year when we toured, where did we go? We were up in Bolton. Bolton was a highlight venue. It was great.
All right, so you were nearby, not too far.
We were nearby. The north of England is brilliant. Like, I think you're just up for the crack, which is good. It just reminds me of home.
Oh, yes.
So it's good. Yeah.
We love the crack here in the north.
Everyone loves the crack, right?
It's coming to the Lowry next Tuesday, the 23rd, and is it until the 27th, I believe?
27th. So yeah, we finish on the Saturday night there, yeah, and it's great. But yeah. 3
words, how would you sum it up to convince people to come along and see the show?
Fun, heart, and crazy. Oh. It's never the same
I like
show
that.
twice. It's never the same show twice. So yeah, that's all you need.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So you can see why people come back then, can't they?
Exactly.
Of course, tickets.
Do you know?
Yeah. Tickets on the Lowry website. We are so looking forward to seeing this. And little fun fact for you, I didn't realise this. The word time machine comes from the time machine.
How could you not know that? Come on, you're going to love this show.
Well, I thought it was just a pre-existing term. I thought that's why it was called the time machine. Learn something new every day, don't you?
I'm going to bring that into the rehearsal room now. They'll love that. I love it.
Thank you very much, Michael. Really looking forward to seeing this.
I'm now here with Barbara Diesel, who is the lead role in a one-woman show called Dear Eliza. Hello, Barbara. Could you just tell us a little bit more about what the play is all about and what can the audience take away from this?
Yeah, so I wrote the play myself, and it is a exploration of friendship under the strain of mental ill health. So there's a lot of use of letters and correspondence, and then these seemingly disconnected thoughts that kind of all come together at the end. So it kind of encompasses a lot of themes around mental health, being a teenager with mental ill health, and kind of learning to live with a mental health disorder and learning to accept that that is a part of your life and being okay with that. But I think the main thing that people can take away from it is that it isn't like a very traditional media depiction. You know, when you watch a lot of films or a lot of plays, or you read a book about someone with a mental illness, it's very often over sanitized and handled very delicately, and they fit very neatly into their little box. Or on the other side, you get a villain who is a very stereotypical psychotic character that isn't actually, you know, how we understand psychosis to be. So it's either very sanitized or very stigmatizing. So the play is very much a gray area, and I'm hoping that that is what people can take away from that, is having seen something that's a lot more realistic, authentic, and candid.
And what was it like as an actress doing this sort of role, and how did you, in what way did you capture how the character was feeling or thinking when covering a topic like mental health?
Yeah, it's a topic that's very personal to me. When I was writing the play originally, there's a lot of things you can kind of, the people who know me can kind of tell at what point this is sort of Barbara's voice giving her opinion on something. So there's some moments where I am making a point to the audience about treatment of people with mental ill health, or about experiences with therapy and things like that. And a lot of that comes from a personal place that I've kind of reframed and put into a different scenario. It is a difficult role as an actor. I do have to take care of myself mentally, because it is, it can be quite harrowing. If you're not careful, you have to take care of yourself. So I think for me, putting boundaries into place so that I can still protect my own mental health, but at the same time finding that place of truth and finding where I connect with the character and maybe where we disconnect, and kind of using those guidelines in order to get into the character without becoming just myself, you know, crying on stage. So yeah, it's a fine line. It's a fine line.
Yeah, and this is a one-woman show, so how does that make it, would you say that makes it more powerful in terms of covering a topic like this, and what's that like doing?
Yeah, I definitely think it's very powerful, and I think that there is something to be said for having a performance about mental health that has a unreliable narrator, but there is no one else to kind of ask the opinion of. Some of the things in the show that my character says are quite ugly at times. She's dealing with a lot of really difficult and complex emotions, and I think when people deal with complex and difficult emotions, it makes people ugly sometimes, and I think that's something that people aren't willing to represent about mental health. So I would definitely say that having it as like a one-person show really brings in that kind of unreliable narrator, and getting to really get under the skin of that character and see kind of the mechanisms there. So I think it works really nicely.
Yeah, and you've teamed up with director Helen Parry. How is that been, and what made you guys want to team up? Because she's made the show longer, hasn't she? She's extended it an extra 45 minutes.
So yeah, so I originally did the show at the Greater Manchester Fringe Festival in July, And I went along to the kind of fringe after party, and they had an awards ceremony. And at that point, I had been the creative team. I'd had an actor friend come in and give me like a couple of hours before just to give their opinion. But it had just been self-directed. And it was only half an hour long at that point. And I got chatting with Helen afterwards, because I was shortlisted for an award there for the Best Newcomer Award. We got chatting. She does a lot of kind of script development work and directing, and she was really interested. She asked to see the script, and we kind of took it from there. We agreed that as a tour, it would be more marketable to be a little bit longer. And I also felt like having performed the piece, there was a lot more that I wanted to say. I could see where the gaps were. So I went away and I developed the script for an extra further 15 minutes longer. We kind of discussed, what points can be explored and expanded more. And then now we've taken it into the space. We had our first rehearsal yesterday, actually. So it's quite a short rehearsal process. And it's really exciting because we get on really well. We have the same vision a lot of the time. And when we don't, we can kind of find a good negotiation. So I'm really, really excited to work with her. She's been fantastic so far, yeah.
Hi, I'm Hayley and welcome to Your Film and Your TV. And here are my top picks for the rest of January. Oh my God, Glamorous on Netflix. Watch it. It's brilliant. It's hilarious. It's funny. Have I said funny and hilarious? It's diverse. It stars Kim Cattrall, who is outstanding, and Miss Benny, who is brilliant too. It's about Marco, who's actually on a real journey. He meets the makeup mogul Madeline and gets a job working for her. And it's all about self-discovery. And it's like about asking yourself and asking everyone what it means to reinvent yourself. The second programme is After the Flood. It's on ITV. You might have read about it. It was all filmed in Manchester and Glossop. It's brilliant. It's about Jo, who discovers a body during a flood, and then her journey investigating and how everything about that investigation changes her life forever. It also stars Lorraine Ashbourne, Philip Glenister, and Sophie Rundle, who's from Gentleman Jack. Oh, my last thing on the list for this month is a film that I'm desperate to watch. It's called Good Grief, and it not only stars Daniel Levy from Schitt's Creek, it's also written by him, and he also produced it, and it's his directorial debut as well. It's about a man who loses his husband, and it's all about the journey of grief, but it also looks at friendship and the loving bonds of friendship, and about how they are really when they're stretched to breaking point. And he starts to wonder how well he knew his husband that he lost. Now that's it from me. I shall catch you next time, and remember, stronger together. Bye.
Well, what a marvellous show that was.
I know, we've had a good laugh today.
A very good laugh.
It's been so nice being back.
Yes, well, you'll be back soon enough, won't you,
I
Marlo?
can't be a stranger. I have got a new job that I can tell you all about very soon.
Yes.
But I'll still be popping in. I'll still be here, still, pulling pints in the bar.
Yes.
You can't get rid of me.
We haven't pulled a pint in this bar.
I know.
Hey.
That nearly fell off.
Well done.
Don't forget, you can check out as well podcasts.
Oh, yes. Every Sunday from 7 p.m. you can check it out. And if you can't catch it at 7 p.m. on a Sunday, don't forget it's there all the time. As is the history and every single episode we've ever done, visual or audio, it's all there. But next week, Izzy, you're going investigating something, aren't you?
Yes, so I'm going to be speaking to the people of Manchester all about whether they trust the trams, but I'm also going to be finding out about some potential new plans that might mean people might get to travel from here to Stockport a lot more easily. So
Just sounds like a lot of roadworks to me.
A lot of phones and road closures. Listen, let us know your opinions on anything that we put on simply by getting in contact with us. You can do that on any of our socials or by dropping us an email at contact@yourmcr. For now, thanks for watching this week's episode of Your Manchester.